So all this money that I garnered, what I'm going to do with it is I'm actually building a commercial real estate property, and I'm going to invest in that property, and this provides the seed capital for that investment. That's a traditional real estate cash flow investment. And I'm so excited that I can take money from an angel investment or a high-tech investment and redeploy it into my bread and butter passive income investment that pays dividends. Hey everyone, this is Ian. I'm back with another video about investing. So as most of you know, I am a dividend growth investor. I invest in stocks that pay an increasing stream of dividends over time because I love cash flow. An investment for me is a vehicle that pays a perpetual stream, oftentimes increasing, of cash flow that one like myself can live off of. I can literally pay the bills with the cash flow and the passive income. Now, if you've also been following my channel, you know that I purchased Bitcoin earlier this year. And I just did a video on Bitcoin just about a week or so ago, and I wanted to do a follow-up video on Bitcoin again because I am starting to sell my position in Bitcoin. I am taking money off of the table. I am realizing gains because, in my opinion, things are starting to heat up a little too quickly. And so I want to discuss Bitcoin today. I know it's a little bit different than most of my other investment videos, but I think it's important because Bitcoin is out there, it's part of the conversation, and I want to add my personal perspective to the mix. So let's start with some numbers. As I always do, I brought my notebook. I'm going to go in there and go through these notes. Basically, I actually own a few cryptocurrencies, so I want to share today the profits that I took off the table. With Bitcoin, which I originally started purchasing about 6 months ago, I averaged in between $2,000 and $4,000 range when Bitcoin was trading in that range. I just sold, and the position that I sold, I made a 413% gain. 413% in a 6-month period. This is what I'm talking about. When I did my last video and I was saying, hey, even when I did that video and Bitcoin was at about $12,000, I was saying to everyone, I wouldn't be purchasing at this price. It makes no sense. It's gone up too much. Well, as soon as I filmed that video and uploaded it, Bitcoin jumped up to this $17,000 range and beyond. And so, in my opinion, and that coincided with a lot of hype, a lot of press, everyone's talking about it. Just in my opinion, that's a little bit too much too quickly. And so anyways, because it went up so much so quickly, I said, hey Ian, I really ought to get some money off of the table. And so basically what my strategy was to sell a good amount of my Bitcoin to realize gains and get all of my principal off the table. And so anyways, the Bitcoin I sold, I realized a 413% gain. Now another way of looking at this, I still have Bitcoin left on the table, but let's just say it goes to zero, which it could. And I certainly am not buying Bitcoin at this price. But let's just say that it goes to zero. Well, what that means is if the remaining position I have on the table is completely wiped out, my overall gain is 210%. And that's in addition to the capital that was returned. So I got all of my capital back, all of the money I put into Bitcoin, and I made on top of that a 210% profit in 6 months. I can live with that. I can totally live with that, even if the rest of my position that I have riding right now gets wiped out. And so this is very different than the way I look at dividend growth investing. With dividend growth investing, when a stock goes up, I typically don't sell. In fact, I'll oftentimes add to it. I will double down in a winner. I will keep putting more money into a winner. But with something like this, where it's a bit more speculative, it falls in the portion of my portfolio that I reserve for tech and angel investments. This portion of my portfolio is typically 10% or less of my overall portfolio. If something goes up this quickly, it doesn't follow the same rules as dividend growth investing. So I got all of my capital off the table and a good portion of my profits. Anyways, let's look at the next one. I also bought some Ethereum, Ether token. My gains on that one, on the portion that I sold, is 234%. Now, looking at it the same way as Bitcoin, if the amount of Ether that I have left just goes to zero, it's completely worthless. In addition to getting complete return of my capital, which I took off the table, I also made a 135% return. Again, in 6 months, that's pretty good. Next one, I purchased some Litecoin as well. Looking at it the same way, sold it on the portion that I sold, I'm up 309%. And again, if what I have left in Litecoin, I have a little bit left, goes to zero, it becomes completely worthless, I still have returned all of my capital, all of my principal, and in addition to that, I experienced a 228% return. The way I look at it is I have 10% of my portfolio or less allocated to these types of investments, and if they do really well, like Bitcoin does, or did for me, that's not technically an angel investment, but I categorize it in that category, I get the money off the table, the profits off the table, maybe I leave some like I did, just in case it goes up more, and I take that money and I get it into traditional cash flow investments. And if you were watching my previous video, you might remember that I was waiting for the $50,000 to $100,000 range. I think Bitcoin might hit that range next year, 2018. It might hit it by the end of 2018. If it does, I'll take the rest off of the table. Even if it's at about 30,000 by the end of 2018, I'll probably take most, if not all of the rest off the table. That being said, it went up too quickly here, so I wanted to preemptively take some off the table. I didn't expect to do this, but I just had to, because as I was even filming these videos, it was skyrocketing in real time, and it's just too much too quick. But anyways, I view these types of investments as an opportunity to accelerate my returns and get more capital, more opportunity to put into traditional cash flow investments. So all this money that I garnered, what I'm going to do with it is I'm actually building a commercial real estate property, and I'm going to invest in that property, and this provides the seed capital for that investment. That's a traditional real estate cash flow investment. And I'm so excited that I can take money from an angel investment or a high-tech investment and redeploy it into my bread and butter passive income investment that pays dividends. Now, worth noting, this is a strategy that works for me because my portfolio is pretty large. It's grown over the years. I did not always have a strategy like this. I did not always allocate money towards angel investments, tech investments. For many people out there, if not most people out there, this might not make sense. For me, it does make sense because this is my channel. I want to be an open book. I want to share what's going on in my finances in real time with everyone out there. I've been getting a lot of questions about Bitcoin in particular. That's why I'm sharing this. But just because this is what I did, it does not necessarily make sense for a lot of investors out there. And quite frankly, I am not buying Bitcoin at these levels. I think it has gone up too much. I would consider buying again if it went below $6,000 or it reached the $6,000 range. But at the $17,000 range, $16,000 range that it's at now, in my opinion, the risk reward, the asymmetrical returns are just not there. And if you want to learn more about that, check out my last video that I did on Bitcoin. I will link to it in the description below. So I took some notes today and want to just go through a few things. One thing worth noting is I've held this Bitcoin for not very long, for about 6 months. I'm going to be paying short-term capital gains on these Bitcoin gains. That is not a cornerstone of my investment strategy. I typically buy and hold forever. This is why I like dividend stocks so much. This is why I typically stay away from other types of investments. That being said, when something goes up this quick, I can't let taxes dictate when I sell. I can't wait for that 1 year. I've got to get the money off of the table, and so that's what I did. But something worth mentioning, why I do like dividend investing so much, because typically a qualified dividend is taxed as long-term capital gains, and because I keep buying stocks but I don't sell dividend-paying stocks, I don't have to necessarily worry about selling principal and paying shorter or long-term cap gains on stocks purchased, because I just hold them forever. I only am taxed on the dividends that come in. For qualified dividends, tax rate is lower than non-qualified dividends, and most of my dividends are qualified. Also today, I would like to talk about a redistribution within my cryptocurrency portfolio. I talked about Bitcoin, Ether, and Litecoin so far. Also recently, I have been able to diversify a little bit, very small positions into some other cryptocurrencies. So I ended up buying some Dash I ended up buying some Monero, some Zcash, and also some Ripple. I don't want to go into a lot of details about those today, but overall my strategy in cryptocurrency is I kind of look at them as options. It's an option on explosive future growth. Given the size of my overall portfolio, and given now that I've taken all of the risk off the table, everything that's still in there is pure upside. And not only did I take the risk off of the table, I took big profits off the table. I feel comfortable diversifying a little bit out of Bitcoin and into some of these other altcoins, because looking forward, I see a future over the next year or two where I believe some of these altcoins that may even have superior technologies to Bitcoin, based on my research, can do quite well as compared to Bitcoin. And it may even be a scenario where Bitcoin goes down in price or holds steady, and the altcoins, some of these really good ones, rise in price. So that's just part of my overall cryptocurrency strategy right now. Just as a general note, my cryptocurrency portfolio right now, it still is pretty heavily weighted in Bitcoin. It's 80% Bitcoin, 20% altcoins, other coins other than Bitcoin. So my name is Ian Lopuk. I'm from ppcian.com. I am an investor for dividends and cash flow. Today's video, I realize, is a little bit different, but I needed to share this because I did another video on Bitcoin and I just had to follow it up because things are so crazy out there. I hope my perspective provides value to everyone out there. And the two takeaways that I think anyone watching should take away from this today is, one, when one's portfolio gets large enough, I believe it's okay, especially if one goes in eyes wide open, to make some more aggressive investments, especially if one understands technology, understands what's going on, like I do, because I have a Stanford computer science degree. I studied Bitcoin, I understand Bitcoin. I'm by no means an expert, I'm a beginner, but I know enough to invest. I know enough to do some other angel investments as well. And the takeaway is, when one's portfolio gets large enough, one can have a smaller sliver of their portfolio that can be super high growth, that can help fuel future cash flow investments if one can take profits off of the table. So that's point number one. The other meta level point is, I am not buying Bitcoin right now. I have no intention to buy more. I did diversify a little bit into some of the altcoins, but in general, as it pertains to cryptocurrencies right now, I am not adding more money. It is just too frothy right now, in my opinion. I think it will go up more, but the risk reward, the upside versus downside, it's not what it was when I first started purchasing around $2,000 per Bitcoin. And so those are the two takeaways that I want to share, because I think a lot of the news, a lot of the information out there right now in cryptocurrency is very bullish. It's oftentimes one-sided, or it's just really pessimistic. So it's kind of either really bullish or really pessimistic. You don't have anyone kind of in the middle like myself. And so I just want to provide that voice of reason. I want to provide why I have done this, and I hope that helps everyone. My name is Ian Lopuk. I am not a licensed investment advisor, and today's video is not investment advice. I am also not a licensed tax advisor. Today's video is not tax advice. This video is just for your fun and entertainment. If you are going to go out there and invest in cryptocurrencies or anything else, stock market, dividend stocks, please do consult a licensed financial advisor first. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next PPC Ian investing video.